and I have lots to catch you up on. Hi friends, it's Pam. Welcome back to my bookshelf, and I have lots to catch you up on. The first two big things is I painted my room. My walls are now purple. I have two different colors I painted with, and I'll insert a little footage somewhere. I'm really happy with it, and I have a double bed now and a new comforter set, and so my room just looks so good. And the orientation is slightly different, which is why I'm sitting on my bed actually with my bookshelf behind me. I'm gonna see if this setup works for me. Don't know yet. So yeah, those are the first two big things. I painted my room and I got a new bed and a new bedspread. The other big thing that happened is I landed myself with a full-time working from home administrative job just for the summer to help out a friend. And it's going really well, but it's really, really busy. Like, it's full-time. I'm working 5 days a week with them and 1 day a week with my part-time job in retail. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. And I thought to make things easier for myself, I'm just going to film my April and May wrap-ups together. So in April 2021, I read 5 books. I read Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Gardner, which I gave 4 stars. This is about a deaf Indian girl who gets kicked out of her private school and has to go into a mainstream school. So she feels she was wrongfully kicked out, and she's just trying to adjust though, and she really loves graffiti. It was fun. It was a real nice surprise that Julia, the main character, she has 2 moms. That's really cool. The writing was nice. It was really cool to be immersed in deaf culture. The author is not deaf herself, but she did a lot of research apparently and had a lot of beta readers help her craft the story to be respectful as possible. I could not find for the life of me an Own Voices review. So if you are deaf or hard of hearing and have read this book, link your review and I will add it to the description. And this was the first book for the buzzword prompt for April, which is space and galaxy terms. And this has the word universe in it. The second book was See All the Stars by Kit Frick. And this was the second buzzword related book with stars in the title. I also gave this 4 stars, but I think I enjoyed it less than Your Welcome Universe. It was a fun mystery and the characters were pretty interesting. It's about a set of 4 girls who are like a really close, tight-knit group of friends. And then something mysterious happens that we don't know at the beginning of the book. And so it flip-flops back between the before times when they were all still close friends to the after, when this friendship group is broken apart because of this event. It was fun. It was kind of annoying sometimes in that teenagers can be annoying kind of way, saying dumb things. But overall, I had fun, and that's all I want in a book. And I will most definitely look into Kit Frick's other books. The next book I finished was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Oh boy. This is the highest fantasy I've read all year. I buddy read this with a good friend of mine, and we shared some fun thoughts together. It was nice to gossip about a book with someone in real time. I have this beautiful collector's edition that has gorgeous fan art in the end pages. There we go. Fantastic. So I gave this 4.5 stars because I was really entertained, and that is what I want. I was really confused by the magic system sometimes, but my friend I buddy read this with, she's really into fantasy and high fantasy, so she helped me out here and there when I got confused. Do I even really need to describe this book? I almost don't want to because it's so well known and it's been out for quite a while and a lot of people know what this book is. But I think the long story short is it's about Kel, who is a kind of magical person that has the ability to travel between these parallel Londons. So London, England, there are some parallel universes kind of where the Londons are connected and only these magical people like Kel can travel through them. And then stuff happens. Difficult to explain as someone who does not read a lot of fantasy or understand it most of the time. But I still had fun. I probably will read the sequel. I don't know when though. I am notorious for pushing off reading sequels. The next book I read in April was The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Carr. This is her second poetry collection, and I got this fun beautiful cloth-bound edition from Indigo, but it was kind of just okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. There were some beautiful poems I liked that I tabbed, about 15 or so that I quite liked. Other than that, not bad, you know, not groundbreaking like some other poetry collections I've read, but I think it's just been a while since I've read poetry, so it could be that muddled into it. Oh yes, and this was the third book I read for the Galaxy Space Turns for Sun. And the last book I read in April was The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, which has 2 buzzword space galaxy terms for April, sun and star. It's great. So I'm very nitpicky. We'll go with that. Because I had the opportunity to read an arc of The Sun is Also a Star in the October before it came out. And it was wonderful and I loved it. And then I finally got a paperback copy a few years later. Thing is though, I technically counted this as unread in my beautiful book database. Because technically I have not read these pages, but I've read the story with the arc. And usually there's not a whole lot of story differences between these two. Sometimes there's like typos or minor changes happen between these two. So yeah, I counted this as technically unread, but now I can count it as read because I read these pages specifically. And if you somehow do not know, The Sun is Also a Star is about Natasha and Daniel, who meet on a very important day in their separate lives in New York City, and they have a wonderful day together. But can it go for more than that? Like, New York City is a really big place, and to meet someone and have a wonderful day with them, will there be more after that? Oh man, I'm not doing this book justice. I love it so much. My reread was definitely 5 stars. I love this book so much, and I will forever love its cover. And for the record, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. Not everyone likes book-to-movie adaptations, but I'm just so easy to please. I think there's only minor things I'll get upset about with movie adaptations, but other than that, I'm just there for a good time. And this book is so beautiful. And it nearly made me cry at the end because I just love it so much. So that wraps up April, which is pretty good. And then this full-time working from home admin job started in April, and May was my first full month at this job. So I thought I was going to read less books in May, but somehow I read 6, which is 1 more than I've done for every other month this year. 2 things I want to share before I get to my May books. I want to share one other birthday present I got because it is just fantastic. My boyfriend's sister, who's practically my sister, got me Tattoo Tarot, Ink and Intuition. So it's a tarot deck that is inspired by tattoo designs. And it is just gorgeous. I have to share it with y'all. There we go. I have no idea if the camera's going to focus. Either way, you're getting an idea of how beautiful this deck is. It doesn't even matter what cards I'm showing you. I know, I'm hoping that was in frame enough. Oh well, this deck is beautiful. It's one of my treasured possessions now. And it came in this gorgeous box with gold accents. And so she also made me this beautiful little mat to lay the cards on. It's yellow on one side and blue on the other with a sun embroidered. Oh, it's just so sweet of her. She also got me a notebook where she drew one of my tattoos on the cover to just make it personalized, and so I get to put all my tarot thoughts and experiences in here, and it's just so sweet and kind of her. Yeah, I got this tattoo, was it last September? Yeah, okay, I got this tattoo last September, so I don't think my YouTube channel has seen it. I will try and insert some footage here because it is probably one of my favorite tattoos. They're all my favorite, but this one's extra special because it's just wonderful. This is actually from a tattoo artist who shares the same name as me. We're both named Pam, which is fun. And she wrote me a 6-page birthday card, which I love so much, but this is going to stay mine. And the other important thing that happened in May, I got accepted into grad school. That's really cool. I'll talk more about my program maybe in another video, but for now I just wanted to say that that happened. All right, on to the books I read in May. The first book I read, I don't actually have with me. I read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And I don't have the copy with me because I lent it to my grandmother and apparently she's enjoying it, so that's great. I gave The Lost Apothecary 3.5 stars, but like a really good 3.5 stars because I did really enjoy the story and the characters, but just some of the writing was a little flat. And I think some of the loose ends got tied up a little too quickly. You know, they could have been tied up sooner, but you know, I still really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I got to lend it to my grandmother, and I hope she enjoys it too. Oh yeah, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but this book has one of my least favorite tropes, which is cheating. I'm so fed up of reading about cheaters. God, it's annoying. Because they all say the same things of, I'm gonna leave it at that. The Invisible Life of Addie Larue is the next book I read for May. I will be doing a full video on reading two V.E. Schwab books together, A Darker Shade of Magic and The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. I just need to finish filming and editing it. But there were some things I really loved about Addie Larue, and there were some things I didn't like as much. The writing is definitely very poetic and much more flowery than with A Darker Shade of Magic. A Darker Shade of Magic is a little more literal, whereas this kind of just, the words float off the page, kind of. So if you somehow have not heard of this book is about Adeline Larue, who was born in France in the 1700s, and she makes a deal. She makes a bargain that she'll get to live forever, but the twist she hadn't realized when she made this bargain is that she will be forgotten by everyone she meets. But then, 300 years later, 2014, New York City, Addie runs into Henry, who remembers her. And so, for the first time in 300 years, someone is remembering her. I really liked some of the twists that were in here. I liked the flipping back and forth in time aspect of the book, but it was also very Eurocentric and very white-centered. Like, how can you have 300 years of history and not acknowledge anything that was happening to people of color between those times and between France, England, and the United States? I'm not going to put it into words eloquently enough, so please seek out reviews by people of color on Goodreads. And Cindy made an excellent video explaining the white-centeredness of this book, and I will link that above and below. I still really enjoyed this though, but I enjoyed it from a white perspective. I still have some complicated feelings about this book, but, you know, I had fun. That's the thing. I want to have fun reading books. The next book I read in May was The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. Ooh, wow. I gave this 4 stars. It was so much fun and nice and short. This was a recommendation from Kayla. She's one of my favorite people to find book recommendations from because I think her tastes in reading and mine are quite similar. This book is about 4 teens living in Alaska, in different regions of Alaska, and their lives get all tangled together. That's the long and the short. This was the first book I read for the May buzzword prompt, which was house and home. And I thought it was wonderful. The characters all felt quite distinct, and the writing was just lovely, and I love how the title came into place. Like, oh, a satisfying moment when the title came into place. The next book I read in May was another short one, In the House in the Dark of the Woods. Another recommendation from Kayla. This is by Laird Hunt. I also gave this 4 stars because it was weird in the best way possible. I love weird books. I want to be confused for 200 pages. My boyfriend, on the other hand, does not like being confused. He read this in an afternoon when it took me 5 days. And he didn't like it as much because he didn't like being confused, which is okay. We all have our different reading preferences. His sister, on the other hand, also read it in that same afternoon and loved it. I'm so happy she enjoyed it so much. And yeah, so this book is about a woman who goes missing, but like, did she really go missing or did she just leave? And you don't need to know much more than that. It's set in New England colonial times, and the woods are scary at night. Yeah, I loved this. It was great. And fun. Like, it also had me legitimately creeped out at a couple points. So yeah, fun read. And if I didn't mention, the second house book I read for May. And I was able to squeeze in a third house book for May, House of Holo by Crystal Sutherland. Oh, wow. Cool. This book, 5 stars. We'll start with that. It was just really good. This is like a modern fairy tale, but like a grim fairy tale because it was quite grim and also gross at times. Do not read this if you are squeamish. We'll put that out there. This cover is stunning. I love the way the title came into place. I loved everything. This is about 3 sisters, Iris, Vivi, and Gray, who went missing when they were kids for a month and then just poof, reappeared. But none of them remembered what happened to them for that month that they were gone. And so this book then kicks off when the eldest sister, Gray, goes missing a second time. And the sisters are like, uh-oh, what is this? What are we gonna do? And so it revolves around them trying to discover what happened to them. I think it was 10 years ago from the present time. And oh boy, it's really good. I really enjoyed this. Also, this purple is beautiful and it pretty much matches my walls, which I like very much. My birthday falls in May, and this was one of the books I bought for myself for my birthday. Ah, it was so good. But yeah, everything that's on this cover comes into play in some way, and it's just phenomenal. I think I didn't like the mom character as much, but that's just, I think, my own taste. The sisters have such an intense bond, it's almost creepy, which I think is the point. I had fun. And the last book I read in May was John Green's newest book, The Antipescene Reviewed, which is a collection of essays on a human-centered planet. 5 stars. Yes, I really, really enjoy John Green's writing. I don't know how to explain this book. It's a collection of essays. This is my first nonfiction book of the year, I'm pretty sure. All right. So this book started out as a podcast called The Antipescene Reviewed, where John Green takes something on this planet, something about human existence, and he rates it on a 5-star scale. And so he writes here, the Anthropocene is a proposed term for the current geologic age in which humans have profoundly reshaped the planet and its biodiversity. I read this at the same time while listening to the audiobook, so I had the words in front of my eyes and I had the audiobook in my ears, which is read by John Green, who has just a lovely voice to listen to. And that was a really great experience in my opinion, so I definitely recommend the audiobook. And the audiobook has a couple bonus essays, which is really cool. I really enjoyed this, and my brother and my father want to read it next, so I'm going to be lending it to them, which is pretty cool. The last thing I want to say about my reading in May was that I attempted to read House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I did not get very far. I started putting sticky notes. I made it to page 97. Oh boy, this is a brick. It's going to probably take me the rest of the year to get through this, especially with this full-time job. This book is really weird. I'm really enjoying it. It's just going to take me a while to get through it, I know. But hopefully I'll be able to finish it in 2021, and you'll get to hear my thoughts then. All right, so that was a lot of books. That was 11 books to cover April and May 2021. I think I will do this again June, July together in one video as a wrap-up, and we'll see how things are in August, because in theory in August this full-time job will be done, because it's just seasonal. I'm not reading as much and as often as I want to be, but I'm still carving out time here and there to read what I can when I can. I have so many queer books I want to read for June, and so many name and title books that I also want to read for the buzzword prompt for June. And then July isn't too far away to think about right now. All right, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate anyone's patience with me with the fact I haven't uploaded in a while. After working 9 hours at a computer, I kind of don't want to stare at a computer anymore to edit videos. I want to just read a book and not look at a screen. I'm going to make some time and I'm going to edit this and hopefully get it up before the end of June. Fingers crossed, Pam. Come on, you can do it. I just have so little time and so little energy. But this was just such a great opportunity to help out a friend and make some pretty good cash this summer. All right, thanks so much for watching. Comment down below a book that you were not expecting to enjoy, but then you really enjoyed. For me, that would be In the House in the Dark of the Woods. I thought I was going to like this, but I didn't expect how much I was going to like this. Okay, have a great day and happy reading. Bye!